Welcome back, Bandits. It's Eddie here with the Best Ball Bandit Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe. Today we're going to cover what are the 5 stacks that you want to have for the fantasy playoffs. That's stacks with your quarterback and tight end, stacks with your quarterback and wide receivers. Who are those stacks going to be? We'll find out here shortly. But first, let's go ahead and play the intro.
Oh?
For those first-time viewers, my name is Eddie. I am the Best Ball Bandit. I've been playing fantasy football for over 23 years. Been playing best ball for the last 3 years. Last year, I did win first place in the pointer, first out of over 20,000 entries, 10th place in the Chow Chow, and made the finals in 2 puppy leagues as well. So thanks for tuning in. We're going to hop into a draft here. We need 2 more to fill. The big dog. So let's see what we can get. And actually, not the big dog, sorry, the Pitbull. Big Dogs 500. We are big dogs here. We will be doing that one at some point, but today we're doing the Pitbull. There's 2 more for the Pitbull to fill. And if not, we're going to hop into a Best Ball Mania draft. But thanks for tuning in. It seems like we only need 1 more to fill for the Pitbull. So we're going to do the Pitbull. I like that format as well because it's 2 out of 12, but then 1 out of 6, 1 out of 5, and then 156 seat final. It does allow you to get a little bit more creative for that second and third round. $100,000 for first place, but we're going to talk about what are the stacks that we want to target for the fantasy playoffs because that's ultimately what matters. Week 15, 16, 17. You want to make sure that you're drafting not just to advance, but also to win it all, to win the $100,000 main prize. So to start off, we're going to play a little music. Today's another great day. I'm here in Miami for those that haven't listened to my podcast or YouTube channel before. And it's been raining these last couple of days, but we're not going to let that bother us. We're still going to get hyped up. We're going to listen to some vibes, some chill music. We got a little soundtrack here. I like this soundtrack because it sounds like the Knight Rider. Perfect for this Miami Vice kind of feel that we got going. So let's see what pick I get. We need 1 more to fill. So before the tournament fills, I'll kind of go over some of those stacks that I'm looking to target. So I want to stack wide receivers and tight ends that I can get later on in the draft, and also that I can get their quarterback later on in the draft as well for the most part. So right off the bat, one of the teams that I'm going to start targeting heavily are the LA Rams. Matthew Stafford has the easiest schedule for any quarterback in the fantasy playoffs with 15, 16, 17. Of course, I would love to stack him with Puka, but I'm really targeting Davante Adams. Davante Adams had a great year last year. I don't think he's falling off the cliff. He's definitely the end zone target. Puka's great. He didn't get injured last year, but he typically gets injured. So I'd rather bet on Davante Adams versus betting on Puka Nacua. The other stack that I'm looking at, which you could stack once again, the quarterback late. For QB, Matthew Stafford is going at ADP 104. Davante Adams is going in pick 51. So he's going in the 5th round. And then you're getting Matthew Stafford in the 9th round. So what's not to love about that? Another stack that I'm targeting is Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, you can get extremely late as well. He's going in ADP of, 108. So he's also going in the 9th round. And then I want to stack him with either TJ Hawkinson, which I've been drafting a lot of, or of course, Justin Jefferson. So Kyler Murray has the 2nd easiest playoff schedule. Justin Jefferson has a fourth easiest playoff schedule for wide receiver, and TJ Hawkinson has a fourth easiest schedule for tight ends. I really like Justin Jefferson because right now his ADP is at the back end of the first draft or the first round. Has an ADP of 9.7, so you could realistically get him with the 10th pick, 9th, 8th, 7th pick, or 6th pick as well. Sometimes you might even be able to get him in the 11th or 12th pick. He was going in that round earlier in the drafting season. So those are the first two stacks that I really like targeting, and I'm going to be targeting a lot more throughout the remainder of the season. Another quarterback that I'm targeting with the fourth easiest schedule during the fantasy playoffs is Tyler Shough. Tyler Shough is playing indoors. He has a very favorable schedule throughout the fantasy playoffs. He's going to be facing the Buccaneers at Buccaneers in Florida. Hopefully great weather during that time frame, not raining like this week. Arizona Cardinals indoors and the Atlanta Falcons indoors as well. I do want to stack him with Chris Olave or also with Jordan Tyson. So Chris Olave is going in the third round, which I believe last year he was going in the second round. So it's definitely a nice value that you're getting with Chris Olave in the second round. In the third round, ADP of 29 right now. And then Tyler Shough, once again, a QB that you can get later on. He's going in the 10th round in pick 116. So that's also another quarterback that I'm going to be targeting and another combo. Since the draft has not filled yet, we'll go over those last two stacks that I'm looking to target. And these stacks are with tight ends instead of quarterbacks. Instead of wide receivers. Definitely still quarterbacks. The running back is not throwing them the ball. But a little change of pace. Lamar Jackson, ADP of 56. He's going in the 5th round. I love stacking Lamar Jackson with Mark Andrews. So Lamar Jackson right now has the 16th easiest schedule for a quarterback, but Mark Andrews has the second easiest schedule for a tight end. Mark Andrews is once again going later on in the draft, so very easy to stack with Lamar Jackson if you get a discount on Lamar. He has an ADP of 127. Isaiah Likely is not there any longer, so definitely somebody that you want to pair with Lamar Jackson. And then you can even get Rashad Bateman in the 18th round as well. So definitely want to be stacking the Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson stack. And then last but not least, we're pairing another tight end. Tight end ADP of 66. So going in the 6th round, Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren has, once again, a favorable playoff schedule. He has the 3rd easiest schedule for tight ends during the playoffs. And then Daniel Jones has the 15th easiest schedule for quarterback. Daniel Jones you can get later on in the draft. I think you can get him in round 13. He has an ADP right now of 144. So these are the players I'm going to be targeting. Right now we have the back end of the draft. We have the 12th pick. Once again, this is 1 out of 12 and then 1 out of 6 and 1 out of 5. So I'm going to be targeting some of those players that I just mentioned. Let's see what lands to us with the 12th and 13th pick. More than likely, I am not going to be able to get Justin Jefferson that I wanted. But let's see what we can make happen. So I feel like with the 1 out of 6, it makes me think differently about the draft strategy. Because 1 out of 6, you want to dominate 3 out of the 4 positions with 1 out of 6. And I feel like you can get away with one quarterback if you have an elite quarterback. So I do get Lamar Jackson. I feel like I could get away with just one quarterback in that landscape. But let's see what falls to us. Let's see what we're able to get. James Cook, I'm not a huge fan of. He has a 26 easiest or hardest schedule for that matter for running backs. Saquon Barkley, I have been drafting Saquon Barkley, so I'm not opposed to Saquon. He does have a tough playoff schedule, but he does have an easier week 1 through 14 schedule. So it's definitely something to consider. He has the 28th easiest or hardest schedule for a running back. So let's take a look to see what we get. So the usual suspects go that we thought would be going. CeeDee Lamb is gone. Amon-Ra St. Brown, McCaffrey, Justin Jefferson goes early, and James Cook goes. So I am on the clock. I'm going to go Derrick Henry and Chase Brown. They play each other week 17. And it allows me to stack Derrick Henry with Lamar Jackson possibly. Derrick Henry and Chase Brown, those are running backs that, score points. Chase Brown catches a ball. Derrick Henry averages 100 yards and a touchdown every game. So I like stacking them together. I wasn't in love with any of the other running backs there. I've drafted a lot of, once again, the usual suspects throughout that time frame. Saquon Barkley, Gentry, Devon Achane, Amari Hampton. So I did want to start off a little bit different there and see what we can create with that start. And Derrick Henry does have the 5th easiest schedule for a running back during the fantasy playoffs. So that's definitely something that I'm excited about. And then Chase Brown has the 14th easiest schedule. So I feel like those were 2 good picks there. Another option would have been Gentry. He has the 18th easiest schedule, so it's not super attractive there. But let's see what we can get. Starting off with Derrick Henry and Chase Brown. I would love to get T. Higgins, and let's see what else we can stack up. I'm not a huge Zay Flowers fan, but I do like T. Higgins. Let's switch up the music a little bit and see what the vibes are. So T. Higgins would go right before I do. Josh Jacobs is back in practice. I would target Josh Jacobs as well. I'm not opposed to Josh Jacobs. He has been falling a lot. And this is a game of risk. So we definitely need to take on some risk in order to win it all. What happens if he doesn't get suspended? What happens if he stays with the Green Bay Packers and I'm able to get him in the back end of the 3rd round? That's definitely a nice risk to take if the reward is there. He's been giving great numbers throughout his career. 13 touchdowns last year, 15 touchdowns the year before. What's not to love about that? Sometimes the risk is worth the reward. And with Josh Jacobs, I do think it is. Rashee Rice is another one. Might be worth taking the risk on. They still have Josh Jacobs projected for 188 points. So I don't know what that means, but I mean, he's projected pretty much the same amount of points as Javonte Williams right now. More points than Cam Scatterbo. And that's, I'm guessing, assuming that he's going to get suspended. So I like our chances. So Javonte Williams goes, Malik Neighbors. Jacobs does go, and Josh Allen. All right. So we were able to get T. Higgins. I would have loved Travis Etienne Jr. there, but we're happy with T. So we're going to go T. Higgins. You know what? We're going to go Zay Flowers. I don't draft a lot of Zay Flowers, like I said. It's nice correlation. I draft a lot of either Ladd McConkey or Mike Evans, and mostly Mike Evans. I pull him up as well if I need to, but we're gonna go Zay Flowers. We're gonna hope that Lamar Jackson falls back to us. That would be a huge fall if Lamar goes all the way to pick 60, but you never know. Crazier things have happened. I could also get Joe Burrow at pick 61. And then we got the nice week 17 stack and get Mark Andrews later on. I love that. I did say we wanted to target Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson. I did also say Daniel Jones and Tyler Warren. That is still an option. Matthew Stafford and Devontae Adams don't think it's going to happen. And I don't want to say it's out of the question, but pretty unlikely that that would happen. And then the last stack that I had talked about was Justin Jefferson and Kyler Murray. So that is definitely not going to happen. And Tyler Shuck, we did miss out on. Chris Olave went. Where did Chris Olave go in this draft? Wow, he went in the second round. So he's rising up the board. So I like to start. We went 2 running backs heavy, 2 wide receivers, similar to the Jonathan Taylor drafter. I normally don't start 2 and 2. I might go 3 and 1. 3 running backs, 1 wide receiver, and then build from there. But I like to start. Maureen Hampton had a pretty big fall, and so did Kenneth Walker. Since I pulled up Chase Brown and Derrick Henry, everybody else drops. So Mike Evans goes. And there's Devontae Adams. So my best hope would be to try to get... I can get Tyler Warren. He does have the same bye week of Mark Andrews, though. And we definitely want to target Mark Andrews since we're stacking up the Baltimore Ravens with the Cincinnati Bengals for that Week 17 game. So I might not get any of the stacks that we talked about, but those are the stacks that I will be targeting going forward. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking. I got 30 subscribers right now. I'm trying to get to 100. I started this channel about 3 weeks ago. I've been, following fantasy football, best ball format the last 3 years, and it's something I've always wanted to do. So I'm excited that I was able to start the channel. I have a website, bestballbandit.com as well. It has all my rankings, player takes, correlations, playoff schedules, the best picks for the playoffs. And then I actually just launched this hat as well. So we have it in 3 different colors. We have it in white, blue, and black. It's the Best Ball Bandit hat. We are going to be selling that on the website as well. To subscribe for my website, it's only $39.99 for the year. And until Friday, I am giving a free hat away if you subscribe for the yearly subscription of $39.99. So we are running that promotion through the end of Friday. So let's see what makes it back to us. Once again, we're picking pick 60 and 61. I haven't been getting a lot of Joe Burrow. I feel like he's kind of overpriced. He's around that same spot that CJ Stroud was a couple years ago. And I'm not really 100% sold at his current rate, but we might still take him. I'm not opposed to it. But instead of Joe Burrow, I didn't want to jinx it, but we were able to get Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson at an ADP value of 4 picks ahead of ADP. We're also going to get Bucky Irving. We're going to get Bucky Irving first, just to get a slight little fall on Lamar Jackson. We are able to get that stack that we wanted to do. Let's go. We got Lamar Jackson at a 5-pick discount. We got Bucky Irving at an 8-pick discount. We're cruising, people. We're cruising. This allows us to stack Baker Mayfield later on with Bucky Irving. I'm loving life right now. We said we wanted to do something at the start of the show, and we were able to complete that. Not 100% yet, but it's looking pretty good to complete. Mark Andrews has an ADP of 127, and we're picking at pick 109. We might have to reach for him to make sure that we get that stack instead of 132. He might fall to 132. I don't want to risk it with all the talk of stacking him with Lamar Jackson, so we might reach and get him while he's there. But we're picking 84 and 85 first. There are a couple players that I like there as well. We can go Chris Godwin. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're playing the Saints, Falcons, and Rams. Love that schedule as well. Chris Godwin has a 10th easiest schedule for a wide receiver, so definitely a stack I am willing to bet on. Who knows what kind of Chris Godwin's coming back, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, so our team is Derrick Henry, Chase Brown, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers, Bucky Irving, and Lamar Jackson. Definitely like that start. We got 3 great running backs, 2 great wide receivers, and a great quarterback. I don't know if so many people would say Bucky Irving's great, but I'm going to say he's great since he's on my team. I mean, at that ADP value, it's all about unique combinations. So that's the main reason why I did that. Getting him at pick 60, who knows how many other teams are getting him at pick 60, especially in this time box contest. The Chase Brown drafter was able to get Joe Burrow at a great ADP value. So Joe Burrow has an ADP of 64 and he went 75th because I did have Chase Brown, and T. Higgins. So that was a nice fall for the drafter of Jamar Chase. Pierce, Makai Lemon. This guy's going to go quarterback possibly. He doesn't have any quarterbacks right now. Ooh, Cortland Sutton. I wanted Cortland Sutton. So I'm picking 80-45. You don't get a lot of ADP values picking in those spots. So I am going to go Jayden Reed and Chris Godwin. We need wide receivers. My next two picks, I would really like Michael Pittman Jr. and Mark Andrews. I'm pulling players up, which is fine. It's a $20 tournament, and you want to have unique combinations. So if everybody has the same players, what are we doing here, people? All right, let's switch up the music. Let's get a little rock going. There we go. There we go. A slap of the bass. Jayden Reed, Green Bay Packers. I'm loving that team this year. They don't have the most favorable playoff schedule. They're playing the Dolphins. Wah, wah, wah. Yes, I do live in Miami. The Bears at the Bears could be bad weather. Versus Texans at Green Bay could be bad weather. But Texans have a great defense also. But you never know. I mean, never know with weather, never know with defenses. There's injuries. A lot can happen. Hard to predict what's going to happen week 15 through 17. All we can do is make our best educated guesses. And that's what we're doing here. The thing about getting quarterback early is there's so much great quarterback value late, as I talked about with all the other quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence is another one that I like to stack. He has an ADP of 86 right now. We're all the way at pick 98 and nobody's picked Trevor Lawrence, and he just goes right now. Another huge ADP fall for quarterbacks, and then in some rooms you can't get a quarterback if you wanted to. So I'm not loving this team, gonna be honest, but we did what we said we were gonna do. We drafted Lamar Jackson. We're gonna draft him with Mark Andrews, and we got Derrick Henry. We got T. Higgins, we got Chase Brown. We got week 17 correlation. We just gotta get there now. So how many teams have tight ends? So the one drafter, the two drafter, the three drafter just got three quarterbacks back to back to back. Brock Purdy stacked with nobody, and Bo Nix stacked with nobody. But I love that he's dominating that. Then Bowers in the fourth pick, Kraft in the fifth. Nobody, and then Loveland, nobody. I might go back-to-back tight ends. I might go Laporta and Mark Andrews. I'm one pick away. I'm going Laporta and Mark Andrews. We're going to start bullying the room. All right, so we got two great tight ends. We got three great running backs, an elite wide quarterback, and then four serviceable wide receivers. We're going to load up on more wide receivers and a couple more tight ends. Might just get one more quarterback. Let's see who's available later on. I could do a Jaden Higgins and CJ Stroud stack. Somebody I want to get more of as well is Cam Ward. I was looking at his playoff schedule, and he has a very favorable schedule. The Tennessee Titans have one of the easiest schedules for wide receivers, the second easiest to be exact, and the 8th easiest for quarterback. He doesn't run the ball though, so that's the only thing that I'm hesitant about, but neither does CJ Stroud. And CJ Stroud doesn't have such a favorable playoff schedule. The Houston Texans have the 23rd easiest for quarterback. So it's definitely something I want to consider and think about. I could go Cam Ward and pair him up with Calvin Ridley later, which I don't want to do, but Wan'Dale Robinson I draft none of. Gunnar Helm. Let's see. Cam Ward did have 2 rushing touchdowns last year, so that's not horrible. Tonight is the NBA championship starts for those that are basketball fans as well. I'll definitely be watching that after this stream. So Baker Mayfield and Tyler Shuck are still there. I need to refresh my screen here. All right, so the Trevor Lawrence drafter goes Baker Mayfield and Malik Willis. Tyler Shuck goes to the Jordan Tyson drafter. Baker Mayfield stacked with nobody. Travis Kelce just goes, I would have loved me some Travis Kelce. Stephon Diggs might be an option. We're in round 11. Cam Ward goes, so Cam Ward is not an option any longer. And honestly, I talked about potentially having one quarterback. I might go with that strategy for this draft. I might possibly go with that strategy. Or I might go with the 6th stack that you can do, which I did not mention. Which I might do that. I might give a little bonus stack. I am 2 picks away. Oh, they went Jay Higgins. That is extremely upsetting. Extremely upsetting. He had 6 wide receivers. There was no need to go Jay Higgins. So I'm going to tilt. I'm going to tilt. That's very upsetting. I really wanted Jay Higgins and CJ Stroud stack. But we're loading up on more tight ends. We are not going to panic, and we're going to dictate what we do, not what the room tells us to do. That Jay Higgins pick would have been extremely, extremely nice. So that drafters team is shaping up nicely. James Cook, AJ Brown, Travis Etienne, Ladd McConkey. So AJ Brown goes right after me, super early. McConkey, Christian Watson was able to pair AJ Brown with Drake May, then RJ Harvey, Addison, Downs, Concepcion, Jay Higgins. But he has no tight ends. So we do have some backdoor stacks that we can still do. So I'm not too worried about it. The Eagles, they're playing the Seahawks, Texans, and 49ers. We can get hopefully Tank Dell later on. And also Dontavian Wicks, which is one of the players that I mentioned on yesterday's episode that I want to be drafting a lot of. Now that AJ Brown is gone, I think he's a huge value. So we are going to queue up Stribling, Dontavian Wicks, Tank Dell. So there are 4 wide receivers that we could add to our wide receiver room. And with 9 wide receivers, 2 quarterbacks, 3 tight ends. It's 14. 9, 2 is 11, and 3 is 14, and 3 is 17. So we might only get one more running back. Or we might get 2 more running backs and only get Lamar Jackson as our quarterback. Who knows? Let's wait and find out. So CJ Stroud goes right before the Nico Collins drafter. I think that was pretty funny there. All right, so the 12th hole is actually, I think, the worst pick in fantasy football this year. And I'm not just saying it because I don't like my team. I really do think it's probably the worst because picking 10th or 9th, you can still get Justin Jefferson and then still get a stud running back. And you can still get ADP value. But picking 11th or 12th, you don't really have a lot of options. You don't really get ADP value. And you're getting James Cook, typically, and Genty, or Devon Achane and Barkley, combination of those, where you can get typically St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, or Justin Jefferson mixed with one of those running backs. But here we are. Stephon Diggs might go to the Commanders, especially with the fiasco of Brandon Ayuk. Oh my gosh. I drafted so much Brandon Ayuk, and every year, and he burns me every year. But one year I'll learn. I'll learn eventually. I talked about high risk, high reward. I mean, you want to take risk on players. But sometimes the writing's on the wall, and you just gotta read the writing. I'm one pick away. If the drafter before me does not get a tight end, I am going to take a tight end from him. He did go Britton Strange. All right. Trey Tucker, welcome to the team. Tyjae Spears, welcome to the team. Okay, so the team so far is Derrick Henry, Chase Brown, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers, Bucky Irving, Lamar Jackson. Good start there. Correlation week 17, Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, Derrick Henry. A lot of correlation there. Then we went Jayden Reed, Chris Godwin, Sam Laporta, Mark Andrews, some more correlation for that week 17 stack. Jayden Reed and Chris Godwin, they're not stacked, and they're not stacked with anybody just yet, I don't believe. Stephon Diggs and Trey Tucker. I've been drafting a lot of Trey Tucker. The Las Vegas Raiders have the 17th easiest schedule for wide receivers, and they're also playing the Titans and Cardinals week 16 and 17. Broncos week 15, which I don't love, but Titans and Cardinals I do love. Got some correlation with Tyjae Spears to go along with that week 16 matchup. So let's see. I might go Sean Tucker to have the Bucs backfield. I think I'm really considering just going Lamar Jackson. All right, let's see. Sorry for not sharing the screen. I was looking at the draft picks, but we got Mendoza off the board, Geno Smith off the board. Russell Wilson just announced he's retiring today. Pat Freiermuth is another player that I was looking at. Get 4 tight ends and just dominate the tight end position, the running back position, and the quarterback position, and then be weak at wide receiver. That's one of the options I was thinking. And then pairing him with Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers does go, so that is not an option. But you know what is an option? Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker, welcome to the team. Tank Dell, welcome to the team. Some correlation for week 17 with the Green Bay Packers. So we're fighting over here, people. We got 2 picks left. We might not go a quarterback. We might have solo quarterback on this team. I could go Deshaun Watson, and I was thinking of pairing him with Jared Jeudy. But the more I think about it, I might just go wide receiver. How much is Deshaun Watson really going to add to this team? I mean, he potentially could add. And he does have the easiest schedule during the fantasy playoffs for a quarterback, the 7th easiest, and for wide receiver, it's the 1st easiest, or the easiest. So I'm basically saying my tight end's going to give me 15 points, my quarterback 20 points, that's 35 points. Hopefully starting 3 of those running backs, and they're giving me a combined 50 points. That's 70 and 15, 85. And then hopefully we're getting 45 points from our wide receiver room. Even 40 points would give us 125. So I do feel like we need to add a couple more wide receivers. Malik Washington, I am not opposed to. Dontavian Wicks. A.D. Mitchell. Chris Brazzell. Pat Bryant, Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman did have that 9 touchdown year. Wow, what a year that was. I think that was the year that it was the Bateman line. Did he pay off at that Bateman line? Chris Brazzell has been turning heads at training camp. I'm going to cue him up also. Eagles play Seahawks, Texans, and Niners, so we would have some correlation with the Texans. All right, so we are a couple picks away. Dontavian Wicks just goes. Malik Washington just goes. And I'm officially bugging out. I'm going to go Chris Brazzell. And I'm going to go Elijah Surratt to pair with Lamar Jackson. 2 rookie upsides that should hopefully do good later on in the fantasy playoffs and later on in the season. I didn't get any rookies at all on this team, so it's nice to end with 2 rookies that can make an impact. Elijah Surratt is paired with Lamar Jackson. And then the Carolina Panthers, they do have a tough schedule for wide receivers in the playoffs, but some upside with late season upside with rookies. So thanks again for tuning in. I am Eddie, the Best Ball Bandit. I'm going to do a recap of the team. We started off with Derrick Henry and Chase Brown to have that Week 17 correlation. T. Higgins, Zay Flowers, Week 17 correlation. Bucky Irving at a nice ADP value. Then we stacked Lamar Jackson with Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, and Mark Andrews and Elijah Surratt later on. We got Jalen Reed, Chris Godwin, Sam Laporta, Stephon Diggs, Dallas Goedert, Trey Tucker, Tajay Spears, Sean Tucker. So we got Tuckers, Tank Dell, Chris Brazel, Elijah Surratt. Please like, subscribe. Try to get to 100 subscribers, so we greatly appreciate your support. And see you all tomorrow. Let's watch those NBA.